Hello, everybody. Sarcoth Haven here. We are going to be watching a replay of yesterday's stream. And yesterday we were doing Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and I was playing a Druid during the live stream, and I wanted to go back over that tonight. And this way I could, talk about what was going on the best I can anyway. And also willing to answer questions that you guys may have if you have any. Hopefully, we can iron out some things. I did my best to try to show off the Druid. I know there was I've read about some disappointment that the Druid wasn't all that impressive because I was sitting down a lot during the battles and trying. But what I was trying to do was meditate mana and keep everybody alive the best I could. Anyway, the trying to think. Well, let's just go ahead and get started in it. If you guys are interested, go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see what I can answer, but we're gonna go ahead and watch it, and I'll talk about it over top of everybody else here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Dean. I'm from Visionary Realms. I'm the producer of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. I'm also the director of communication over at Visionary Realms. But first, I want to thank our three streamers for joining us tonight. You're on their channel, so we know you love them. We've got Sarcoth.
Hello, hello. So one thing I want to point out right at the bottom of the screen right now, I am hovering over the spell bars, the spells, the skills and the spells. I guess they're just spells right now, but like if we go back, I don't know if you guys saw the first couple there. Let me go back a little bit, and we'll just mute it. There's the first one. So the first one was Herodes Flame, and thanks for the host, Aussie. Herodes Flame. So ask Herodi to release a surge of verdant fire into the target. I'm gonna go ahead and just mute the stream, and I'll just do the talking for them for right now. We'll lower it really low here. Hey, Fire Spy, how's it going? And I'm also doing an interactive stream this time, so if you guys want to talk about the game, just let me know. Herodes Flame, so it's 10 mana. It's not really that big. But it's a release a surge of verdant fire into target, healing them for a moderate amount. So it's a small little heal there. And let's move on to the next one. And then Verdant Fire Seed. That one costs a little bit more mana, and that one plants a seed that absorbs up to 40% of the target's max health damage. When the amount is reached, the seed will bloom and heal the target for amount absorbed. Additionally, 20% of the effective healing the target receives will be refunded to you as mana. So what my goal was, hey Raider, how's it going? Raider 1377, welcome back. So Verdant Fire Seed, the goal was to cast that one first, so that it's on the target, on the tank or whatever, and then I would start casting the first one, and I would just keep going back and forth like that. So I don't know why it minimized there. So the first one, and it keeps doing it. So the first one was Herodes Flame, and that one was like a moderate heal. So let's move on to the next one here.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ben Dean.
And
Visionary Realms. I'm the producer of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. I'm also the director of communication.
now this next one, Warden's Wildfire, was probably my favorite one to cast because with that one, it was like a really fast, like it was very fast to cast, and it also had a low cooldown, but it was costly. It cost 25 mana instead. And what it did, it was cast on myself. I didn't have to actually target anybody, but any of the people around me. So if I stayed close to the group, it would heal the people, my own group, and it would also do some damage to the enemies as well. So I believe, yes, it was damaging any enemy and healing any group member they touched. So it would just do that, and it would do it like in 3 quick bursts. So I thought it was pretty cool. I liked that one a lot. It's just that it's more costly, but it was also, I felt it was an emergency one type thing, but I was also going to be getting some aggro with it, so I had to be careful.
Over at Visionary Realms. First, I want to thank our three streamers for joining us tonight. You're on their.
So Verdant Fire Bolt, this one says it hurls a bolt of pure Verdant Fire at the target, dealing nature and fire damage. I really didn't even get to use this one during the combat because I was constantly concerned about my mana upkeep and being able to heal the group. Since there was no other healers in the group, I was completely had to deal with all the healing that was involved during the combat. So doing damage spells while trying to keep the group alive. I know there was times where like in the beginning where I could have been doing the damage spells, but I didn't know when we were going to start hitting. I really wasn't sure of when we were going to start hitting the harder, more difficult targets. So I wanted to play it safe and just keep it, low on the mana usage. That is. Hello, hello.
And Jessica's.
The next one is called Lightning. Since that one costs 30 mana, I really didn't want to cast that one at all during the combat because I was really concerned, like I said, about mana usage, and doing damage spells just didn't seem like a point when I'm the only healer.
Tonight. Hello. And we have Nibori as well.
All right, Angry Hornets. Now, you guys may not have noticed, but I did actually cast this one a few times when I felt like because I'm like when I played a Druid back in back in the EverQuest days and stuff, I loved my dots. And as long as the target that they were on, hey Red Baron, how's it going? Hey Dragonfly Dreamer, Revenge, everybody, thank you. And then what would happen is, so back then I would just make sure I was targeting the one that the group was fighting off, and I would go ahead, short Druid. Yeah, I know I know I talk a little funny. Hey Sarcoth, thanks for the recap missed last night. You're welcome, Whale. Oh, that's Walls is Hall. Okay, Walls is Hall. Hey, Walls is Hall. One of my friends, Quintorak, I believe, used to use a name like Wall. But I won't assume that's you unless you tell me. Yeah, my guy was short, but as you notice, like some people were asking why did he look a little bit taller than the normal halflings? Well, the history. Oh, Quintorak. Okay, cool deal. All right. That's my buddy Quintorak right there. Okay, but anyway, the halflings. I'll just talk about race a little bit later. Let's go keep going with the spells right now. So this is the dot, and obviously you don't want to hit it when you're when somebody's trying to do, do crowd control. So you got to be careful with the dots, and that actually came up later on too.
As well is none other than Chris Perkins, the creative director and lead designer for.
Vine Woven Cage. Now this one, this one cause powerful thorn vines to erupt from the ground and so it was a root. I did not have the mana to keep roots going on. That would be more of a crown control thing. If I wasn't the main healer, I would have been doing roots like crazy to help out the group, but I was just, and it actually I did try a little bit of solo in my downtime, and it worked really well. I was able to do that dot and just keep doing that. So as a druid who played, I used to always go around and do have the mobs follow me and just slowly whittle them down. So I was very big on that. I can't remember what the term was though.
Hey everybody.
So there's Verdant Fire Briars. Grow a network of mystical briars. This one I was casting all the time on the group. There was a few times where I forgot to cast it, but I did get back to it as often as I could.
Excited to be back with you again. It's gonna be fun.
So before we get,
there's the imbue, one of the first of the buffs I've got. This is a Bew. Basically it's a stamina and armor class. I think this one's good for the tank, so that's what I was casting on the tanks. The only problem is, and I even spoke about it last night a little bit, my buffs were not showing up on the buff bar. So that the buff bar was there on the right side of the screen. Let me see if I can hover over it. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Let me make sure that you guys can see the mouse, but I don't know why I even turned it off now. Anyway, so what was happening was that the buffs were not showing up here. Yeah, so the mouse does look like it shows up. So the buffs were not showing up over there on the right side of the screen. I even had my my character sheet open too right there. But the buffs were not showing up. They did show up the first time you cast them, but then if you cast another buff, they completely both canceled each other out, it looked like. So I couldn't tell if they were up there. Thank you, Kite. Thank you, Raider. That's it. So I was a kite. I was a kiter. I would just run around and do that. I remember going hunting, I believe it was the Elysian armor. I was constantly doing that when that stuff came out. If I'm getting that correct, but I'm not 100 there. Hello, Lady Genevieve. Hello. Anyway, let's see. And next one, let's move on.
Get started. We're going to do a little run through Black Rose Keep tonight.
All right, so this next one was Tiger's Claw. This is another buff. and the tiger one is for strength and dodge, and I was giving that one to my DPS. Now I guess I could have given that one instead to the tanks, but I don't know. I felt that considering it, it helped do more damage, I figured it might be helpful for the DPS guys and stuff. So I don't know. You guys have to tell me what you think. I mean, stamina and AC sounds more like something you definitely want to give to your tanks, but
Chris, for those viewers who maybe have not heard of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, did you want to tell us what it's about?
all right, the next one there is the Imbue trait, Ashen Regeneration. Now, this one, I really just decided to give that one to myself. I didn't put that on anyone else during the fight. I mean, I guess if I was getting hit, that would be one that I'd want to be able to regenerate, because hopefully the tanks would get the mobs off me fast enough so I could start regenerating.
Absolutely, yeah. Pantheon is a
Herodes Crystallis. So this one puts a seed on the target. Now I never saw what this did. I wasn't 100% sure, but it was costly. So I had to cast it kind of before battle. But then once we wiped and stuff, they moved so quick I wasn't able to recast it on the whole group. So I just tried to cast on a couple people. I don't even know if it worked during the battle. So I do apologize. I'm just not one for sure. I should have asked about that if it was working. To my knowledge, it was supposed to be working, but I never really saw what it would do. So that one says basically you ask Herodi to plant a mystical seed within the target. When this target takes damage that would kill them, the seed prevents their damage and blooms into a protective chrysalis. While inside the chrysalis, target cannot be damaged and will emerge with X% of their max health and mana restored. So I never really actually saw it go into effect, so I can't swear to you that it was good. Oh, Aussie. Hey, Aussie. Welcome back. Aussie's been away for a couple days.
massive multiplayer online role-playing game, an MMORPG as we know and love it. This is a challenging game that depends on community and strategy, and we want to show
Did
off.
I go over the last ability there?
To do a little
Oh no, I didn't.
When a group of adventurers get
Oh,
together.
there it is. So that's Herodi's Shelter. Now that one was very cheap, and what I would do is I just kept it on Jopa since he was the rogue. I wanted to let him do damage, and what it does, so while Herodi is near, all healing that this target receives increased by 25%. Now, additionally, this target's action will generate 50% less hate until you call Herodi back. Now, I thought maybe, but this what? What? Revenge, you're calling me what? Yum Donut, can you tell us about this effects and comment on how well the game ran? Oh yeah, sure. I'm sorry, Yum. Yum Donut asks, can you tell us the system specs and comment on how well the game ran? How about I jump into the live streams channel and you tell me when somebody asks something, JD? Because I'm gonna miss it. So Yum, can you tell us your system specs? My system specs are I'm running a Pantheon. Oh man, let me see. Let me take a look at the exact specs on this sucker. All right, so Intel Core. All right, Intel Core i7 4790K, 4 gigahertz. I'm running. I've only got 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm running a 60-bit operating system, and I've got a 1080 GTX for my video card. My video card is probably my best thing on my computer, and I've got multiple solid state drives. I got 2 bigger hard drives. Since I'm a live streamer, I have to do a lot of video editing and different stuff going on my computer. My weakest part of the computer is my RAM. I've just never bothered to upgrade my RAM, and I'm probably going to do that this winter because the RAM prices have gone down now. So I'm actually looking at it. Wallace asked, "Did you feel like an ineffective healer?" You know, Wallace, I was concerned that my second heal was not always working. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I felt there was a lot of times where I kept them alive just right, I just got to it just at the right time, but I feel like for some like when we were level 25, I was not able to heal them when they were fighting level 32 stuff. But when we were fighting the stuff that was lower and same level, I had no problems keeping the group alive and healing them. But I would say keeping at that point in the game, with the way the heals are right now, I would say that you can't be an only healer. Maybe if we had a 6 person in the group. I guess, if I think about it, that was one of my disappointments. I wish they would have given us a healer as the 6 player. They maybe got one of the Visionary Realms people to come and help out with heals and stuff. So I could have done some other things like dots and stuff like that and had a little bit more fun, actually taking part in the killing of the creatures. But instead, I didn't mind. I mean, I do like healing, but I'm usually a backup healer, and for this particular thing, I wish I would have been able to show off the class a little bit more. And I don't feel that I did that in that particular position yesterday. All right, so back to the shelter thing, the Hurdy shelter. So this is nice because I think the only problem is it generates 50% less hate, which I think is great for a DPS character. You definitely don't want to put that on a tank, even though it has better healing as well. If you put that on a tank and he's generating 50% less hate, well, the healer is going to be getting aggro all the time. So, or somebody else is, and you're going to get people dying. So you definitely don't want to put that on your tank.
Take down a new dungeon. So we're going to be crawling through this together.
Yeah, Dragonfly.
Relying on each other. I love streams like this because
Guys, am I too loud right now? Because I know I got the stream down really low, but
more so, but it's going to be fun to see.
I'll turn it up now.
Everybody kind of learning what their classes can do and responding to different situations. So we're going to try to keep it as authentic tonight as possible. We're going to be answering some questions as well that they've prepared, and then I'm sure going to be shooting from the hip a little bit as well. So it's going to be a fun night.
And
I did want to hit on one thing right there. I know people were constantly sending questions while I was doing the stream last night, but the problem last night was that I couldn't really ask those questions. I had to submit the questions like 2 days in advance. I think I could have gotten away with submitting the night before, but I was worried about because I gave them 10 questions out of all the ones I looked up, researched, people were asking. So I even if they were already asked, so there were a couple of them I just said, oh, I'll just throw it in there. And they came back and told me which ones I couldn't ask, and then a couple of them where they said you could ask it, but well, actually they didn't say you couldn't ask it. They said I could ask them, but they're not going to be able to answer them. So if I wanted to take them off the list, so I just went ahead and took them off the list. So I mean, it seemed kind of pointless asking a question they're not going to answer. And then there was still one I asked they didn't say that to, and they still said it anyway. So there's only so much they can comment on.
I have to apologize to the three of you as well. I created your characters and I gave them random names, so it's going to be extra confusing as we're yelling out names. But Nibori is playing Nedix tonight, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. And Sarcoth, you are on Henley.
That is correct. Just say heal. And one thing I was going around there, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I was hovering over all the items in my inventory. So that was stuff they automatically generated for me, or I don't know how they got them all, but so that was just the gear, and it shows you there's a lot of gear slots, and I feel like it feels like there's more than EverQuest, but I can't swear to it. I'd have to look. There's even a relic slot there that looks kind of cool. And that's good enough.
Excellent. Henley Sarcoth is a druid, and Nedix is a dire lord, and Anada, who is Jessica, is on a monk tonight.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, let's get started.
One other thing I want to comment on too, I had somebody say go back into third person view at some point. Now I'm usually a first person view player, but to make everybody happy, I went into third person view. So as you can see, like in the beginning, I was definitely trying to stay in first person, but I do I aim to please.
So just going to run up the hill here. Do you want to try your hand at healing? At pulling? Thanks. So these mobs are going to be relatively low compared to us, but that'll get us warmed up.
Yeah, we're level 25. These mobs are in the low teens, so we're really just kind of breaking our way into the.
I definitely need to lower combat music.
All right, guys. So here we go. I should have been talking a little bit more, but
for combat music anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't talking last night because I knew I was going to do a replay and I could talk over it when we did the replay. But during this, I wanted to basically make sure that we could all hear Ben and Chris. So that was the main reason for not talking that much. Chunk of bread, fine linen, take all. Someone said I was talking over the others and interrupting them. Actually, I wasn't. I was on push to talk, so they could only hear me when I actually used the push to talk, and I specifically was trying to get their attention at that time or something. So every time you heard me talk, it was almost like if it wasn't to them, it was just to you guys. So that's it. I'm gonna
well,
be
those
trying
guys
to
just aren't interested in what you have to throw.
He just let me throw it at him.
That's not right.
I'm gonna cast on the rogue Jopa as soon as he's ready. Wanted to cast where is he? Oh, there he is. I was gonna give him my Horde's Shelter here. So this says that ask Herodi to stand beside the target while the Herodi is near, all healing.
So how did you guys stumble across Pantheon?
Sarcoth here. I ended up getting involved when it came out in the Kickstarter. Being I played EverQuest back for like 6 years when it came out, from '99 to 2005, and I later did Vanguard for a long period of time as well, and been just playing MMOs and looking for the next thing. And EverQuest was always my favorite, so that's why I'm back.
How about you, Jessica?
Well, my fiance, yeah, my fiance played EverQuest, and he saw you guys at TwitchCon a couple years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And so then we both just went over and had a really, really nice chat. And I don't even remember who it was. I'm sorry that we talked to, but
cool. Yeah, that we had. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
Oh no, it's okay. It's just you guys seemed like you really cared about the product you were making and the community that was going to go along with it.
So right there, I just want to point out something too. So back in EverQuest and all my MMOs, I always set my target closest enemy to the plus sign on the numpad key, but I couldn't do that because whenever I did, it popped up that big window that covered the screen. I believe that was the bug report window or something. I'm not sure. I didn't get to research it enough, but I have such a habit of pressing that button to target that I did it like 3 or 4 times throughout the night. So sorry about that.
That's one of the great things about working on this project is that everybody who's on the team, it's just such a passion project for all of us. So when we go into meetings and when we're talking on channels, everybody has that in common. We want to see this game come alive, and it exudes in everything that goes on over the company. So it's been a real joy. But yeah, TwitchCon was a lot of fun. We got a chance to meet a lot of streamers, and that was the first time we actually showed off Pantheon too in the public, to the public. So.
Okay, so Lord Penn has a question over on Twitch. He says, how soon until this is released? Well, Lord, it's only pre-alpha 4. I think this may be the last pre-alpha, and they said a while ago that the alpha was going to start by the end of the first quarter in 2019. Now that's the alpha. They still have to do the alpha and then the beta, and then the beta, I believe that's when we can actually, the NDA is going to be down. At least that's what I've read and heard from other people. I wasn't able to get confirmation from them last night or through emails, so that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. So, let's see. And we just got an alert, followed by Dire Penguin. Thanks for the follow over on Twitch. And we also had Raider1377 over on YouTube say EverQuest was everyone's favorite. I believe, EverQuest is always going to have like I said that in one of my other videos, it's always going to have a special place in my heart because I played that MMO longer than any other game. I played that game longer than any other game ever. So, and I just, having raids of 72 players at the same time was just great. And I don't know, there was just something about it that I really loved. Lord Penn, yeah, I mean, Lord, I don't know when it's going to definitely come out yet. Thanks for the follow. Something. Yeah, thanks. Oh, that is just coming up there on the screen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till the alpha starts so I can start playing it. But sadly, it doesn't look like I'll be able to do anything. I won't be able to showcase it at all until the beta, though. So I'm not sure when that's coming out. And, the game is still early, so it's got a long time to go. But, since you brought that up, Lord Penn, they currently did reopen the pre-alpha donate, like, it's like a, it's sort of like their Kickstarter. You can buy, a subscription. You can buy a subscription right now, I believe, or, I can't think of it. I think it's just a subscription. But I can actually hop over to their page. Let me give you the link of their page, actually. It's Pantheon MMO. And it's a pledge. That's what it is. So you can do a pledge. So here's the link to Pantheon. Make sure you guys go check it out. You can go ahead and put a pledge in. You can get into the pre-alpha still. It's supposed to only be open temporarily. And then from that point on, you could go ahead and you could join. You can go a lower pledge and you can get into the alpha and then or the beta. And then, the beta is going to be really polished. Oh no, it was cracked to everyone that played. Yeah, EverQuest was. Yes, that's it. Revenge. It was EverCrack. That's actually funny. We used to call it that. You can still play it today. Oh yeah, and actually, Raider says you can still play it today. And we actually went back. A bunch of my guildmates and I went back 2 years ago in 2016, and we actually played it for about 3 months. So thanks for the follow there, Lord Penn. Really appreciate that. And yeah, let's continue on with the stream right now.
Nabori, how about you? Your Pantheon story.
So kind of the same thing. I was a huge EverQuest fan for the longest time. I used to don't tell my mom. I used to skip school, think I went on the bus to play the EverQuest. But yeah, I've been played Vanguard. I played all that. Yeah, I know I was bad. I was terrible. Okay. So I played all that, and then last year I met Brad at TwitchCon.
Oh, great.
And I was really hyped about it. I've been following it for quite some time, but I finally got to talk to him, and just got in touch with you guys, and just went from there.
Nice.
And Lord Penn says I cut my MMO teeth on EverQuest. The longest MMO I ever played was EVE Online for 10 years. Wow, that's impressive. So for EverQuest, I did it for about 6 years. Give or take a few months. I can't remember exactly when. But I did play up to the Dragons of Norath in EverQuest, and I love to raid in that game a lot. And actually, one of my fondest memories of that game is with Delvar. Him and 2 other members, the 4 of us were camping at Permafrost, just killing goblins. Delvar goes out one time to go pull some goblins in, and then 10 minutes or 5 minutes go by and we don't hear back from Delvar. And then 10 minutes go by and we still don't hear from Delvar. We're like, and at that time, it was early in the game time period, and we didn't have voice chat yet. We just had to type. And we're like, Delvar, and then you uppercase Delvar like he's going to hear that or something, right? And then 15 minutes go by and we're like, he's gone, isn't he? We find out the next day, we finally just left. We found out the next day that he actually fell asleep at his keyboard while he was pulling. He was the monk and he was pulling for us, and he fell asleep. So now the same thing happened years, over the next few years. He became famous for falling asleep while playing EverQuest. So eventually he got nicknamed the Sleeping Monk, and this will be forever his name in everything we do. He'll be known as the Sleeping Monk, and it's hilarious. Everyone online that played in our guild knew the story and knew to call him that, because he actually did this on EverQuest raids as well. So he just became purely known for his status there. It's great. Good history stuff. I love things like that because it keeps us connected. And Delvar still plays games with me today. We've been playing since I think we met in early EverQuest when it first came out. He joined the guild. And so we've now been playing the games together for almost 20 years.
So what about classes? I mean, are you guys all playing classes currently that you are used to playing? I think, Jessica, you said earlier that you are a healer by trade, so it only is natural that you're on the monk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I've never played a melee class. Well, okay, so I play a paladin, but only a holy paladin. So I don't play any melee classes in any.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Lynn, are you saying that you're having trouble hearing me or the people in game?
What about you, Sarcoth?
I played a Wood Elf Druid up to level 54, then switched over to a Halfling Druid up to like 60 something, so Druid. In Vanguard, I did play the Wolf Shaman, though.
Okay.
But that was pretty much a Druid
I
for
think
me.
you're talking about the stream. Yeah. Your volume's fine.
Alright, I will turn up the volume a little bit. I was keeping it down so that I could talk earlier, but we don't need to do that now. Here we go.
I'd say I played everything. I do like melee characters over ranged characters. It's just more my style, being up in the face of people. I'd say big two-handed swords are my kind of thing. So,
There you go.
the right guy.
That Dire Lord
That's it,
sounds
huh?
like the right class for you. Chris, did you want to tell us a little bit about the Dire Lord? What makes it unique to Pantheon?
Yeah, well, so Dire Lord is a tank, and we have 3 tank classes, the Warrior, the Paladin, and the Dire Lord, and what we wanted to do with the Dire Lord is something a little bit different, in the sense of, you know, you've got your Warrior, which is your prototypical tank with the, you know, the heavy plate armor and the high mitigation. I say prototypical. I think we've done some pretty unique things with all 3 of the tank classes. But the Dire Lord specifically, we wanted to take it into a bit more of a kind of an offensive tank role, where you know, the Dire Lord is building resources while they're dealing damage.
You know, Dragonfly, I've already answered that question at the beginning of the stream because I know that was a big question that I've been seeing, but I was trying to, if you can see right now, my mana is only at about 30%, 35% there, and I had to constantly since being the only healer during that combat, and the Druid isn't even meant to be a main healer, in my opinion. So, I'm sorry, I was reading Raider's comment. I don't understand what you mean. But, so, yeah, so I had to constantly be mending for mana. Now, one of the things I wish they had done was, because since we could have had a group of 6 people, I wish they would have given us, like, a cleric or something from you know, from Visionary Realms that could have just been in the group that just to provide healing, and that's it. So I could have showed off the class a little bit more. But, and you kept stepping in fire. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean there, Revenge. And but yeah, you know, I basically had to sit all the time because the mana was constantly going and I had to keep everybody alive. So, you know, that's one of the things. If you're playing a Druid, you need either some good crowd control, or if you're playing a Druid as a healer, you need good crowd control and you need somebody giving you crack, which is basically some type of mana spell that regenerates your mana faster. And I didn't have any of those last night, so it was very difficult to keep up with the healing and my mana. So, you know, I was just trying to manage it.
The more damage they're dealing, the more critical strikes they're getting, the more resources they're generating, and therefore the more they can deal out more and more of that damage. But at the same time, they're also a very self-healing oriented tank. And so it's this synergy between dealing more and more damage and getting more and more healing, which scales pretty nicely as you get higher and higher level. So the other kind of nuance, and maybe one of the more important aspects of the Dire Lord, is they are, among the 3 tank classes, the most well-suited for
That moment right there where I wasn't doing anything, I believe that's when I was adjusting my sound. They currently do not have a sound or a volume control in the game. They only have a volume control for the music. So I had to actually go into my Windows controller for the sound, and I had to adjust it strictly for the game so that you could hear everything else a little bit easier from that point on. So from now on, hopefully at that point, it should be fixed.
For mitigating magical-based damage, and it gives them a nice, in addition to their general tanking kit, it gives them a really nice niche role that they fill very well, which we'll see, plenty tonight because there's lots of magic dealing enemies in here, especially once we get to the upper levels. So it's a really fun class. It's still, we just finished a pretty significant class implementation phase where, as of the most recent PA4 that just started this week, we now have all 12 classes in and fairly well fleshed out in terms of their ability kit. So I'm excited to see how you guys enjoy it tonight.
How's that for the sound,
so
guys?
You can probably already tell. This stuff is a bit lower level, so we're kind of breezing through it a little bit easier. But Pantheon is very group-centric, so we do want people to group together. We do want people to get to know each other, figure out tactics, and overcome challenges together, all creating that memorable experience. That's kind of the goal here. So as we traverse through Black Rose Keep, you'll see that there's plenty of times, again, probably a little bit more later than right now, but where we're going to face some complications, and it's going to take some teamwork to get through it. These bruisers here, for example, are already much more difficult than...
I'm playing the Druid, Jessica's playing the Monk, Nybori's playing a Dire Lord, Ben is playing the Paladin, and Jopa is playing the Rogue.
We're suited for in this dungeon, so... if you guys, I don't know if you guys have done this yet, but if you hit the C key with something targeted, you'll get a colored message, and that color is going to indicate the difficulty. It sounds like you guys will be familiar with that premise anyway from the gaming background. So that light and dark blue is kind of what we're fighting right now, which means these things are, at least a couple levels below us, but most of them are, even at this point, they're still about 3 or 4 levels below us. So. Trust me, we won't need to tell you the challenge has begun once we get to
oh, and he's getting attacked here. Okay, try and get him off. Don't take the healer. Okay, Max, let it go down. Oh, nice save. See, that was that was only 2 mobs, and they were blue mobs. And I almost died.
It's gonna get wild.
Yeah.
Oh
Sorry,
no,
I'm
you're
still
not dying.
reading. I have
Group
a
size.
stun, I think, don't I? But I can't figure out which one it is now.
Hey, SFD Rasputin, you asked if can't there be up to 6 in a group? Yeah, Rasputin. I actually was commenting a little bit earlier that I wish that they would have included like a 6-person as a healer, a cleric, so that I could have done a little bit more different types of spells in the group and actually, got to show off everything that the Druid could do. Since I was the only healer, I was kind of restricted to what I could do to keep my mana managed and everything. And so I realized that there should have been a group. There could be up to 6 people because I did ask a question a little bit later that I saw that in the setup keys for the key bindings that there was an F1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I asked if there could be groups of 6, and then he commented. So he'll hear it a little bit later, but.
Flurry Punch has a 50% chance to interrupt casting, and then your stun is actually called
I see that, bud.
Chi Blast. Which, do you have Chi Blast at this level?
Just so far right now I'm doing I did already buff them, but there's something with the buffs not showing up correctly. Let's see if it'll show up now though.
true stun yet, but
Let's
I'm going
see.
to be
I'm
embarrassed if I'm
doing
forgetting.
this one.
Well, I saw something that said, I believe.
See, it's not showing up
confuses the
right now, so
target,
there's like
and
an
so I just
issue with
figured
it. It lasts for like 23 minutes.
That would kind of work as a
So,
stun, even
that's
if
the
it's not
best we got right now.
But now I think that I somehow made that up.
Hover over setting sun technique.
I've got the Herodi
It's,
shelter going
fork from
on
the end there.
Anoda, so Anoda gets, or I'm sorry,
Oh,
on
there we go.
Jopa, so he gets
Okay.
less aggro. And I put on myself the Ashen Regen, and on the Monk
That's
and
concussion,
Rogue,
so what
I
that
put
does is it
the
slows
Tiger's
their spell
Claw.
casting speed.
On the
So
two
that'll be a good
tanks, I
one to
put the
use
Great
against
Bear's
some of the
Resilience.
casters we're going to be coming up on.
And the Verdane Fire, Verdant Fire Briars, I've been casting that on the group as we go. And
So, while we're heading through.
so Raider wants to know is how long do you think the stream will go tonight? So the stream's probably going to go until I think it was only an hour long. So once it's over, I will stay to answer any questions you guys may have. If you don't like whatever we don't answer here during the stream, you can ask again at the end, or we can just do whatever and talk about it a little bit more. And then Hannes, which is my grandfather's name. Keep in mind that on a homepage there are more spell skills listed than Sarcoth has memmed. Also on released by now, this means is the Druid is mostly very basic. So yeah, just also keep in mind he did say at the beginning of the stream that the Druid is one of the new 2 classes in this pre-alpha. So the Summoner and the Druid are the 2est new ones, and there are more spells. But from what I could tell when I looked at my spell book, I was able to briefly look at it before we got started. The spells are just upgrades of previous ones. So I could have showed you a few more spells, and there was also things like Bind, and there was also a Sal, I say Sal because it's just habit, but it basically a speed buff. But we didn't need it here, so I didn't put it on the bar. And to be honest, all the spells on my bar were placed there by Ben, so I just left them there in case that's what he wanted to be displayed. I didn't want to take any chances of showing more stuff, but there were other spells in the spellbook, and I believe I briefly opened the spellbook at some point too later on.
Here, I understand that you guys have some questions from your community.
Aggro.
We don't. Can you CC that one, Chris? The mage.
Switch targets on this one?
Yeah, stay on the assassin. Chris is gonna CC the mage.
Question: Is the dwarf? Are you taunting? Should I not taunt?
Yeah, I have been.
Okay.
I've been taking. I guess we probably should have established that first.
That's okay.
Hey, I just noticed that if you look right there on the left side, it actually says that the Verdant Fire seed has bloomed. So I guess it is doing something. I never noticed it during combat because I was too busy watching the health bars and my mana bar. So I didn't catch the general note there on the bottom left.
Because my chat's like, damn, your aggro sucks. I'm like, he must be taunting.
Yeah, I have been.
I also been taunting.
I've also got...
If you want to tank for a while...
Either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got 3 damage spells, but since I'm the only healer, I'm not going to be really bothering with those tonight. I'm going to be focused on the healing only, since I am the main healer. I've got Verdant Firebolt, I've got Call Lightning,
Right, so
and Angry Hornets, which is my dot damage over time. So
tunnel or out to the courtyard? Well, which way do you guys want to go? I guess is the question.
Which way?
I think it would be good for us to get up on the 2nd level. So if we want to head down the hallway I'm facing right now.
I did it again. So whenever I press the plus sign on my numpad key, the bug reporter comes up. So that's been messing with me there a little bit. I do apologize.
Did we ever establish who is main sister?
Probably did, and then I was distracted in another chat window.
Okay.
Nivori, are you tanking? Should I stop?
I can let you tank.
Okay, all right. I'll just call out the targets then.
Be a little bit more smoother through the dungeon, I guess.
Yeah. Get to that area where we're probably gonna need it. Get off the healer. Let's give Henley a moment to med after this too. So for new people new to the game, you'll see Henley's mana bar is getting pretty low. So he's going to need to take a minute to regain some of that mana. Currently, the way to do that is through meditation. So you'll see Henley sitting there meditating. That gives us a moment to sort of take a beat and regroup, strategize as we need to. It's what we call playing downtime. So there's some of this. We don't want it to be too slow paced and too boring, but we do want some time where players can have the opportunity to interact with each other and talk strategies and work things out. That's how you make friends.
Of course.
Well, it also has a lot to do with the identity of these areas. So if something like an instance, for example, is very linear, you have a starting point, you have an ending point, and the level design takes you from start to finish. Whereas our dungeons really are being designed in a non-linear sense, so you can inhabit them. And what that means is you would probably move in to a place like this, like we're headed to the upper area, and then you find a spot next to a mob that has an item that you want or an area that you feel comfortable inhabiting, but you can always move really to anywhere in the dungeon that you want to carve out a spot or just to experience the whole thing. But the other nonlinear aspect is in the level range, because we started with stuff that was in the low teens. We're moving through stuff that's in the kind of low 20s right now, but we're about to move to an area that's in the low 30s. And so you've got multiple level ranges coexisting in the same spot. And as players, in a social sense, that's a really effective way to kind of get the community building among the different level ranges and not being so isolated. How's that Druid healing going?
Going good. Still alive.
Yeah, I know. It's fun because the Druid and the Summoner are the two youngest classes that we have. We just released those for the first time to our pre-alpha testers this week, so not too many people have put the Druid through its paces at this level. Well, really no one outside of the team has done that so far. So
we're all level 25, I think. I'm level 25. There's my character.
It's true.
Well, I'm glad I get to be one of the first people to play.
How do you feel about that, Jessica? Oh, no, you're not playing the Druid. You're Sarcoth's playing the Druid.
I feel great.
Well, you may have some feelings about it.
Yes, surely.
Is there anything dealing with skill chains or anything going to be implemented on that sense, or is it just taking down resistances and things like that?
Yeah, no plans for skill chains. We do have a few things that we're considering and want to experiment with in the context of certain classes. Like if you see on the website with the wizard the idea of spell weaving, and then there's some ways that could potentially work itself out into other class dynamics, but no plans for like a definitive skill chain or ability chain system.
So the spell I just cast is called Warden's Wildfire, and it has 3 tendrils of verdant fire that lash around you wildly, damaging any enemy and healing any group member they touch.
Oh, we got 2 in the back. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Alright, I got aggro on this one.
Okay.
I like to cut it close there.
Hold this back away from the mage.
I'll do some self heals here. Help you out, Henley.
He's messed.
Now it's a party.
Hell yeah.
If I wasn't the only healer, I would be doing roots for crowd control too, but that's okay.
Yeah, you just focus on keeping us alive.
Mez broke. That's okay.
Oh crap!
Yep.
Might die myself though.
Got a pather. Maybe it might. Not sure.
that was some quick thinking. Good job, guys. Ovid, unfortunately, was not quite so lucky.
No, he died hard.
Oh, wrong thing.
Finally, some mana moment.
All right.
Now, you guys had some questions from your viewers?
Yes, I'll go with one. One of the questions I had: will the perception system include mechanics that offer characters an in-game and in-combat advantage, or will all perception mechanics only be useful out of combat? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, the majority of perception will be built around kind of the out of combat horizontal content arena, if you will. We want to experiment with a few in combat type or combat related mechanics that perception will give you access to. One of the things we've mentioned was the kind of the advanced consideration idea, where as your perception skill grows, which is that combination of your insight and investigate skills, then you could potentially glean more information from considering an NPC. Maybe it's information about their disposition. Maybe it's information about maybe some hidden faction types kind of thing. There's a few things that we're considering there, but we want to be really.
All right, so just so you guys know, at that point in the stream, I lost connection. So Andreas, it's live because I'm doing a replay of it from last night. I'm actually playing it off of my computer, and I am doing commentary with this particular one. So, but YouTube always does live when you're streaming. But yes, it's a replay of last night's video. But I'm also answering questions from you guys if you have them. Let's see. Lynn says I was for a bit, but it's fixed now. I'm not sure what was wrong. Daryl, I did answer you by typing in, but this was from. I did go over all the spells at the beginning, but since this is a replay of last night, I can't go over them again. And DeAndre says, may you ask if the group cap of 6 will be increased? I can't ask because that was from last night. Sorry. And they basically, for the questions, they only gave me be able to ask 4 questions. I gave them a list of 10. They basically came back, told me there were some of them that I couldn't do, but then they said if I they didn't say that. They said if I did ask certain questions, they were going to say they can't really answer that at this time. So I basically had to cross out a bunch of them. So I asked the 4 that seemed to be the most wanted questions from the community. So I did my best I could, but I was very limited on what I could ask. We only had an hour of gameplay. Let me go to the second part, the second video now. And Daryl says, how much is the Druid in this game like the Druid in EQ? So far, Daryl, it seems to be a lot like it. The only big difference that I see right now, hold on, let's jump ahead a little bit here. So the only difference I'm seeing right now between the Druid in EverQuest and the Druid here in Pantheon is that I don't seem to have a lot of buffs that I can cast all at once. I do have a lot of different options for buffs, but it looks like only one of them are in effect at a time. Daryl, as soon as this live stream is done, it'll well, I'm sorry. The one from yesterday is already up. So you can already go watch the one from yesterday if you want to watch this thing without my commentary. If you want to watch this one from the start, as soon as this live stream is over, it'll automatically be uploaded to YouTube and Twitch, so you guys can watch it if you want to. I knew it looked familiar. Okay, here we go.
Well, it's only when it counts.
That was actually one of the Dire Lord abilities. So,
oh, okay.
once they get really angry, they can just start booting people.
Andreas, I'm really looking forward to the game. He says he's been waiting for my commentary. And what did you think of the game overall? I mean, I liked it. I would personally want to do groups of 6, and I can't wait. Daryl, yes, there are dots. There are dots. Yep, gotta have more dots, you know.
Offline, and it's It's a
It's a random proc, right?
Yeah. We got a single mage in here.
Sorry, everybody, I'm back. I'm back. I was saying that because my internet actually died on me, of course. I don't. Let me see.
Sarcoth, I don't know if you were able to hear my full response to know if it was actually answering your question or not. If you need me to repeat something, I can. But
I think I missed the end there, but I guess I panicked so much about the loss of connection that I'm not sure now. DeAndre, okay, first of all, Daryl says snare and roots. There's roots. I didn't see a snare though, but there I didn't get you know what? I don't know, and I don't know if I could tell you if because I could only cover the stuff I went over in the stream last night. And last night I did not have a snare. But since I was healing, since I was the full-time healer last night, I really couldn't put much effort into doing all the other spells. And DeAndre says, do you feel like the Druid healing is strong and mana efficient? Not when you're the only healer in the group and you're fighting stuff that is, 6 levels or 7 levels higher than you. I believe we were starting to fight stuff level 32, and things got a little bit crazy there. So you'll see what he does in a little bit.
yeah, no worries.
My cat has a question.
Yes.
They're wondering if you can tell us whether you have not yet implemented the Druid pet, or if we're just not using it right now.
So, okay, great question. The Druid pet is not implemented yet visually, and there are some abilities that Herode will have that the Druid doesn't have yet, but there are several Druid pet abilities that are implemented that
I got the left one. Sorry.
that he is using right now. It's just without the pet model in just yet. All right, so we've moved into level 30 territory. So these mobs are a lot higher level, and we're gonna need to.
Oh,
Can you CC that one?
I can.
I
CCing.
got him taunted for now.
All right, CC was broken.
Which one are you on? Oh, we lost a healer. Okay, we're gonna have to reset.
Oh, I'm here.
Direlord. I'm sorry, yeah.
But too many people are dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way.
Hacks.
no one saw that.
Oh. I don't know where I am now. I guess I shouldn't have released?
No, that's okay. Oops. We can summon you.
All right, that got a little bit hectic there, guys.
Yeah, you went all the way down to throwing fast. Type. I'm gonna type a command. What zone are we in? BRK. Type zone /zone BRK, and you should be able to come back here.
I'm glad that we died, to be honest. You know why? I think games have gotten way too soft. Oh god, you're getting punched in the neck.
Games have gotten way too soft. Oh!
Way too soft.
Yeah, well, and so it's one thing when you're watching streams. It is difficult to be talking and thinking. I don't know how you guys that stream, consistently do it really, because you're of two minds the whole time. You're talking, you're thinking about what to say, you're answering questions, and then you're also playing. And what happened is when we came up to this third level, we moved from level 22 mobs to level 33 mobs. So we got about a 10 or 11 level jump, and we felt it.
Yeah.
And so we need to be very very cautious from now on. Now that we're at level appropriate content.
Does Sarcoth have a res yet, or do we need to get?
Do what?
Nabori.
No, we it's in, but it's not on this current build yet.
All right, Nabori, you're gonna have to do the same thing. You're gonna have to release and type /zone BRK.
It's now on. Now that we're at level appropriate content.
Does Sarcoth have a res yet, or do we need to get?
Do what?
Nabori.
All right, so I wanted to stop you here because right now I'm showing you guys the spell book that we got. There's page 1, page 2, bandage, fishing. So 2 skills right there. We got Beehive, which is the lower dot. The Oaken Regeneration, which is the lower one for Ashen's regen. And then Speed of the Black Wolf. Now that one, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking that that one was the Sal, but I'm not 100% sure. Mantle of Leaves is I believe that's the Chrysalis. Then we have the Flame, which was the Bolt spell. So the upgraded one is called Verdant Fire Bolt, and then we had the Verdant Fire Dart, which I'm not sure which one that one was for. There's the Seed. So the Seed is the one that's the Seed heal. So that one I'm using at the higher level. And then Rockvine Tangle, which is the root. I believe that's the lower root. The one that I had on my spell bar last night was the Vine Woven Cage. And then we have the Thistles, which is my damage shield. And I believe that was the one I was also using at the higher level. So like I said, I was only using the ones on my my spell bar, but since I opened a spell book, I figure I'll just go over a couple of these. The arrows, the upgrade to the dart, and then let's move a little bit forward so we can see the next page.
No, it's in, but
so there's page 3 and 4. There's a bind. Then we have Wildfire. That is Preserver's Wildfire. So Warden's Wildfire, the one I'm using, is a damage shield and healed shield and a heal. So, well, it's not really a damage shield. It does 3. It basically shoots out 3 tendrils, like spaced over time, so like 1 second in between. And each time it does, it heals the group and damages any enemies in the area. Gaze, I didn't catch what that was. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even see that one until now. Ash Regeneration is the one I was using last night. Grapevine Snag, I guess, was the older root. Or maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm pretty sure that's the same symbol. It's the same symbols down here in my 7 slot. And that one was called Vine Woven Cage. So Speed of the White Wolf. See, I'm guessing that was my Sal because I didn't get to use it. The Lynx Claws was one I had on my bar last night. That one did a strength buff and dodge. And those buffs lasted for 24 minutes, by the way. At least the level of the ones I was using. Wasp Nest was the dot. I did not have that one. I had an upgraded one last night. Grizzly Bear was stamina and AC. Focus was... I don't recall even having that one on my bar. And Chrysalis was the one I was using last night. That was the one that supposed to plant a seed to prevent death. The Bolt was... The Verdant Fire Bolt was the nature fire damage.
It's not on this current build yet.
Call Lightning is a lightning type damage, electrical, and if there's a storm going on, it actually does even more damage. Then Leaf Shroud. I did not have that one last night, so not sure what that one does. Briars. Let's see. That was... Oh, that's the damage... The group damage shield, which I think is great that I don't have to cast it on each person. It's an automatic group 1 to everybody. And it lasts for... How long did it last? I believe this one lasts for about 8 minutes. But I'm not sure. I guess I don't have that. The Great Bear's Resilience... I'm sorry, this is the AC and Stamina one. So the other one must have been a lower version of it. Vine Woven Cage was the root, which I didn't get to use. Tiger's Claw was the buff for agility. And no, I'm sorry, strength and dodge. Angry Hornets, I assume that's a dot. And my dot I could have... Oh yeah, so Angry Hornets was the damage over time. It was for 21 seconds. No, the root's for 21 seconds. The Angry Hornets, I'm not sure how long it lasts, but it does damage over time. And then the Shelter was pretty much what the pet is supposed to be. And the Warden's Wildfire was the upgraded version of where I would automatically do 3 heals, quick heals, and damage to the enemies, so...
Alright, Nabor, you're going to have to do the same thing. You're going to have to release and then type /zone BR.
Andre says in the codex, did you go look at the actions of passive? As you can see, I just did that. Daryl says Druid was Jack of all trades, master on none, so Druid was last pick at higher levels. Not for me. I played 2 Druids and I loved them. Speed of the White Wolf is the same as Spirit of Wolf. That's what I'm thinking, Daryl. I didn't click on it though. I should have. Maybe I did hover over it. I don't know. If you noticed it, maybe. Everyone will be asking for the buff, and you can make some money with that spell. Hopefully. Oh, did they bring back when you click on a mob, it tells you their aggression or neutral? There is, DeAndre, you may have missed it, but they were talking about the new perception system. The perception system works with the consider, so if you do a consider on your enemies, it tells you pretty much what they are, like, with their difficulty and stuff. But if you build up your perception, it sounds like, that was the question I asked a little while ago, it's supposed to tell you more, I believe, when you consider. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's how it's going to work. Yeah, Angry Concordance is the dot. Some of those can break a mez, so yeah, dots can always break a mez. Any damage usually can break a mez, so yeah. I always had to be careful as a druid, and every once in a while I did get somebody mad at me because I broke their crowd control.
I forgot that that death is still sending it back to Throne Fast.
So, as someone that never played EverQuest, is that kind of how you guys are level designing these areas that, like, the higher you go, the more challenging it gets, or is it just that just happens to break it down here and it won't be for other zones?
It's let me think of a good way to answer this. The goal, I would say, design-wise, is more toward, or I guess we should say the bent. Our bent design-wise is more towards a non-linear approach. And what I mean by that is we will have dungeons that have content overlap that is not linear or doesn't flow right from, this is your level 10 to 12 content, and then you go into this room and it's level 13 to 14, and then the next area is 15 to 16. You're going to see in our zones and our dungeons especially pretty substantial leaps in content. And the idea there is to have a shared environment where multiple tiers, multiple level ranges can coexist. Once we make it out of this room, and as a matter of fact, I think we can come out this side safely. Yeah, just a little ways out here, but you can look down into this courtyard, and in the live game, or I mean, this is the live game, so if there were other players in here, you might have mid-teens down there in the courtyard fighting while we're up here level 30-ish. So the point is, yes, for the most part, as you move deeper into an area, the content's going to get higher level, but it's not going to always be in a linear fashion. We couldn't go from level 15 up to the ramparts. We might have to come back 10 levels later once we've gone somewhere else, and then come back once we're high enough level to get up here. But the idea is, when you share the environment like that, when you are mid-teens down in the courtyard, you're looking up here and you're seeing higher level players up here doing the content, and you're thinking, I can't wait until I'm high enough level to actually be able to fight on the ramparts and see what's up there. So that's the idea, is to have that incentive in front of you through the community.
That's cool. I don't think we've seen that in a while, to be honest.
Well, I think because things are very instance heavy, I think that's why you don't see it, because not only are you kind of isolated in general from the rest of the player base, but instances, instances are fine, but they are geared more towards that start to finish packaged linear experience, whereas this is more of kind of an area, like I was saying earlier, that you kind of inhabit more so than just move through and then you're done. But yeah, it's exciting. It's really fun in the pre-alpha testing, to see kind of that premise play out with the different groups of players.
How did I just die?
Yeah, how did you just? Oh, it was the AE.
Yeah, they're pretty. AE's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
I used Canopy of Blood and then I just died.
This is not magical damage. This is chemical damage. But Canopy of Blood also, I think, sacrifices 25% of your health.
I must have just got hit the same time I did it.
You probably did. You probably popped that and then got smacked with something. Yeah.
Here's a question too about death. So in old school games, sometimes you just kill yourself to zone quicker. Is that going to be penalized? Like, are you not going to want to do that in this?
Well, the thing we want to keep in mind too is that Pantheon isn't really going straight old school. What we're doing is we're trying to bring a style of gameplay into the modern age, or to modern gamer. There's a lot of new things that we're trying with Pantheon, a lot of new challenges that today's gamer maybe hasn't experienced before. Death definitely being one of them. We haven't finalized the death penalty yet, but it is along those veins too. It's very, we want it to be punishing enough that you're scared to die, but forgiving enough that you don't have to spend a week trying to get your corpse.
Okay, good.
Oh, I guess we need to summon you again.
One of the questions I had was, I've read a variety of rumors about raiding in Pantheon, and I've always been an avid raider since EQ days and enjoyed coordinating huge raid force against selected targets. What is the plan for raiding in Pantheon, and what will be the max group size? And will there be raid dragons?
Max group size right now is 500. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, there will be raids. Yes, there will be. Well, let me think here for a second. How much I want to say? Yes, there will be raids. Max raid size right now is 24 is the number we're kicking around. We feel like that's a good size to shoot for to start with. We do want to have really challenging, what we would call kind of quote raid tier single group content. We also want to have like a 12 man content for two groups, but then 24 players is kind of our core raid target. That's not to say we won't have, something like a 40 man raid.
Sorry, I got like 4.
Oh, good. Well, this is a wipe.
Just let me die.
Yep.
Too late.
You might want to FD there, Jessica.
Oh yeah, Jessica, having not played a monk before, your Feign Death. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a great ability if you're getting if you think you might be about to die. Let's go ahead and pretend to die, and then you can avoid that.
Just laying here and just chilling.
There you go. Yep.
Perfect.
But yeah, so in raids, we want to, as far dragons are a really significant part of Terminus, and Pantheon's overall story, and so there will absolutely be dragons. I think it's safe to expect some dragons will be dragons to fight, and some will be dragons to respect and maybe learn from. But the raid targets in general, we want to be very careful about not inflating the. We don't want you fighting, gods and beings of godlike power right out of the gate. We want to very slowly and thoughtfully introduce you to kind of those upper echelons of what exists beyond the mortal realm, or what exists in kind of that fantastical realm of power with something like a dragon or these kind of mythical creatures of great might and power. So we're taking great care to do that well and methodically. There, as far as differentiators with our raids, was just talking with Tim, one of our game designers, the other day about how we want to differentiate, and we want to. We want to try to scratch as many itches as we can, I guess, in terms of we want there to be those raids and raid targets that are kind of what your top tier in game raiding guilds that are on 24/7 and just exist to be on the bleeding edge of content at all times. That we want to have content that supports that, but we also want to really think about one of the ways we want to differentiate is how we incentivize players to raid. and what they stand to gain. Is it only loot, or are there other things that you can gain through raiding? Be it, access to content, and I don't mean just like a flagging system or a keying system. I mean, um, being able to, loot something off of a raid target, like an item that actually alters your character in a way that allows you to access another part of the zone. And then all the content and lore and things that are available to you there, or perhaps it's faction unlocks, where you're able to finally get this person to speak to you because you've taken down this being of great might. It unlocks these seemingly mundane things that are actually very interesting. Um, so we're doing a lot of different thinking. The good news is we're not waiting until the last minute to get raid content in. We already have a couple of different raid encounters and raid zones in development. We absolutely don't want to be caught behind the ball when Pantheon launches. We want to have some of that raid content ready to go.
All right, so let me stop and answer a couple questions. We've got DS Dylan over on Twitch. He just stopped in. He says he is looking to possibly get into the. He's dropping 1,000 to get into pre-alpha access. He said alpha, but I believe he means pre-alpha. Only gameplay he's seen has been on this one zone, but I believe I've read that there's 2 other zones. I haven't really looked around for him though. And this was a question from Andreas. He on YouTube is asking, oh, by the way, thanks for the subscription over on YouTube there for Andreas. Thank you very much. So got a question before you started stream. Did you guys get to vote for what you wanted to do? So probably a couple months ago, they contacted us and asked us. They gave us 3 choices. I can't really tell you guys what the 3 choices were. Between there were only 3 of us got to vote, and I can only say, I don't want to point fingers, that this was what ended up winning the vote. So I don't even know what everybody else voted for. I will say that I ended up voting for this one because it sounded like the most fun for what I wanted. I wanted to do more like a dungeon type, not a dungeon, but a castle attack type thing, and I wasn't really sure of what to expect. So I did vote for this, and I don't know how the other 2 voted, but we ended up going to this one. So I did end up voting for it as well. And Daryl says, friend down the road still plays it. I started playing when you open your... I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Oh, EverQuest. Okay, friend down the road still plays it. Yeah, I have 1 or 2 friends that actually still play EverQuest 1. One of the new versions. We jumped in and started playing it a little while ago. Was there a skin like Steel spell? There was not that I could see, except unless you count the it was the imbue trait buff stamina one. It was located in my number 9, and I can't remember what the name of it. It was, oh, I guess it was just, I don't remember what the name of it was. I didn't end up keeping track of that. But the bear one there gave AC, stamina, and stun resist for 24 minutes. That's basically the closest we got, and it does upgrade as you go. You basically get a new one that's the same one as you go up in levels. Sarcoth, do you play any MMOs right now? I could probably join in you. I do play a little bit of Black Desert Online, but right now I'm mostly playing I've got 4 games I'm playing right now. It's between 7 Days to Die, Ark, basically Ark Survival Evolved. I'm playing State of Decay 2, and I'm playing Fallout 76. And my big giveaway coming up in December is to give away a copy of Fallout 76. And for those curious, we are doing a giveaway tonight because yesterday I hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I hit 300 followers on Twitch 2 days ago. So because of that, I'm doing giveaways all day today. And well, not all day today. What I'm doing is every time we get 20, for every 10 viewers on Twitch, so we got up to 20, so that means I'm going to be doing 2 extra winners tonight. And we've already broke 10 likes on YouTube. If we get up to 20 likes, I'll be doing 2 more. So I'm going to be giving away 4 random games tonight at around 2 o'clock tonight. So 2 a.m. in the morning. So for those that can hang out that long, you don't have to. As long as you enter the giveaway tonight, you're in, and you do not have to be on the whole rest of the night to get to win. And I'll contact you, but you have to join Discord if you want me to contact you. So make sure when you click on all the links at the giveaway, you join Discord as well, so I can get in touch with you about your prize.
So do we want to break this room or do we want to avoid it?
Can we pull one at a time?
Monk can try split pulling or FD pulling.
I'm wondering if we can even inch our way around this room. Those chemists are nasty.
That's what I was thinking. Just kind of skip it if we can.
Yeah, they're already becoming my favorite.
Yeah, I think we can. They're red. They're red to us. So, I mean, everything up here is red to us. So every fight's going to be pretty challenging, but especially those healing types.
I got the left one.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to mess the one on the left.
Okay. Switching over to the one on the right then.
Same.
Just make sure he doesn't have any dots on. Okay. All right, Mezzy. He's messed. He's broken. Gotta watch those AEs.
Holy shit. What?
That was fast.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Later, nerds. I'm feigning death.
There you go.
You got ads from the other room too?
Oh, we got a room full of chemists.
Oh no!
It's all over. I don't think we're making it out of this one.
Well.
My flash bomb didn't
Yeah,
fool them.
you know, and it's a little disappointing, I gotta say, because every time that we play, every time that we do a stream, particularly myself, I always get comments after.
I'll see what happens.
How crappy of a player I am, and I was hoping that this stream might be like
Your great
hero,
like
but
vindication.
it didn't happen. Didn't happen.
I think I'm just gonna have to like let them murder me because they're just all over the place.
Well, they will reset after a while.
Is it alright to release, or?
Yeah,
you can
that's the
release.
only way that we're gonna get back there.
Sounds good.
Then you'll have to do the whole zone BRK thing again. So we are playing on a private server right now. We've got a few hundred people on playing pre-alpha on the other realms right now, on Avendir and Havensong. And just as a reminder, if anybody is interested in pre-alpha, it just keep in mind it's not a full game experience. It is very much kind of a behind-the-scenes, early development experience where you get to see, parts of the game that you wouldn't normally see. But if you are interested in joining us in pre-alpha, those pledges are once again available at pantheonmmo.com/join.
See right there, I was showing you guys the settings keybinds, the inputs right there, and it shows you that you could have a target for self, and then for each one of your group members as well. So showing that you can have a group of 6 right there.
But only for a while. Once we meet our quota, then we close it down again.
Looking at this, I see that I can target up to target group members 1 through 5. So the group size is 6.
That's right.
It is 6, yeah.
Yeah, just 5 of us tonight, but yeah, typically.
All right, just making sure. That's cool. I like that number.
Are you still up there, Jessica?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She's feigned.
Okay.
I mean, I can just let myself. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Was I supposed to follow, or am I getting
no,
told?
no.
Yeah, you. Yeah.
I've got the cheats. I've got the cheats going on here, so.
God mode it.
A question again. Will there be further progression similar to EverQuest AA points? So like after you've done raid content and things like that to further progress your character, or is it still strictly going to be gear based?
It is going to be largely gear based. There are no plans at the moment for something like an AA system. But the way that one of the ways we want to provide additional content past max level is in the acquiring of epic abilities and epic skills and epic weaponry. So we're familiar with things like epic weapons and doing those very long, very involved quests to get that epic sword or epic shield or Love to see even epic armors as well. But one of the things we're really excited about are the epic abilities and the epic skills. And, I've always described that as kind of the last scene in the Force Awakens where Rey finds, Luke Skywalker on this, spoiler alert, but, but that you find these masters somewhere in the world and you convince them to teach them what they know, or you convince them to teach you what they know. And so that's kind of how you develop these skills and abilities beyond what you're naturally capable of.
So if I accidentally took a spell off of my bar, how would I get that back?
The little book next to the double blades, the double swords that are your auto attack button, there's a little book icon. If you click that, it'll open your ability book, and you can find it and drag it back down to the bar. You won't be able to do that during combat, but as soon as combat's over, you can drag it on.
Ben, were you calling me?
Yeah, I was just telling you how to get back here. You have to type in /zonebrk.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah, just in the interest of time, we've only got 15 minutes, so we are pulling out the cheats, which I know is disappointing.
So for those watching, all our characters are level 25, and the stuff we were just fighting was level 32. So
let me go ahead and bump.
And I'm the only healer
as well.
Oh, there we go. So we're getting a level bump. Yeah.
Used to help.
So Jessica, you'll have to release in Zone BRK again. Unfortunately.
Okay, let me know when it is safe.
Yeah, you can come back at any time. I'm just gonna kill this guy here.
So I have a question. I know you said you don't want anything in the game to be forced. How are you guys planning on incorporating the lore into the game?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we actually just put a little bit out in our latest newsletter on this, but this is an open world, non-instanced game, and so there's a challenge there in how do you incorporate quest and story content into a game like this, which is by heart non-linear. It's not based around quest hubs. There's not a mini map with indicators telling you where to go and what to do. And what we've landed on is a system called perception, which basically turns the environment itself into the quest giver. And what that means is you will have, if you choose to partake in the perception system,
there's that old EverQuest
then
ding.
The environment will clue you in when there's something of interest nearby. And the example I gave is, if you run somewhere and you see something interesting, just by right of being there, you want to know more about it. And yet the way MMOs typically are built is you can't unless you have a quest for it. And if you don't have a quest for something, then all you can really do is look at it and move on. What we want to do is make those moments, those POIs, those points of interest, and even many of the mundane things. We've run through Black Rose Keep here, and there's paintings on the wall, there's scrolls on tables. We want you to always have a sense that everywhere you look, there's something that if you come up on it and take a look at it, then the game could prompt you based on your perception skill that there's something more there. And those things will initiate quests. They'll give you insight into the lore and the world, and all through simply exploring and doing what we do naturally, which is gravitating towards things that interest us.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Okay, I'm going to pull these two. I'm going to attack the closest raven. I'm going to use Edict of a Celestial Might.
Ben, I think you need to start announcing your ability usage like that more often, just in general gameplay.
Yeah. So what that one was it was basically a pull. So I was able to snag him and yank him to me. Yeah. I'm going to pull these back a little bit just to...
I'm going to mez this guy.
Do you CC the other one?
No, no, I still have my cheats on, so I have
Oh, okay.
yeah, I forgot to turn aggro back on. No mobs are aggroing their ANS. Otherwise, that one would have been.
He's missed.
So on the realms of PvP, is there going to be siege type PvP or any kind of PvP in that nature, or guild versus guild?
So PvP is something that we want to do. Right now we're focusing on PvE primarily. But yeah, you can count on PvP coming down.
Yeah, I'm a huge PvP fan, so I'm gonna be rattling the cages.
That's what I like to hear.
The way I like to put it is I'm a huge PvP fan, which makes me a huge PvE fan, because for PvP to be meaningful, the PvE world, the actual world and environment, needs to be well done. You know, you need to feel like there's a reason to vie with other players. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can have first-person shooters in games where it's really just all about, you know, the player versus player, and the environment really is doesn't matter. But when you're playing an open world MMO like this, the more well done and dialed in the world is, the more meaningful it's going to be to vie with other players within that world. So it's definitely a cart before the horse thing. We want to get the PvE right and make that our focus, and then layering the PvP into that is just going to feel really, it's going to be really exciting. But that will be on a separate server, just in case anyone's wondering. We're not planning on mixing PvE and PvP. There will be PvP specific servers, and our hope is to have a few different rule sets, but nothing set in stone as of yet.
As someone
Yeah.
who's garbage at PvP, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with
absolutely.
you. I'm not a PvPer myself. So I like it when I'm not forced to play PvP.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for it, but I like my PvE.
So I don't know if you can talk about this yet. I'm sure nothing is finalized. How much character customization will we get in terms of our classes? Will everybody who's playing the same class have the exact same abilities? Will you be able to sort of hybridize whatever class you want? How is all of that? Because I know there's some classes already that can fill multiple roles. So.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're trying to be cautious with that, because while, you know, the monk, for example, has an arsenal that will allow it to step into that off-tank role for a period, it's not like a true full spec. I mean, you can't come in and say, I'm going to be an off-tank today, and everything I do is basically tanking. The monk has kind of burst off-tank potential. The rogue has kind of burst CC potential, and things like that. But we want to try to keep the classes really adhering to those defined roles, so we preserve the class identity. That's one of those key tenets for us. But when it comes to specialization, I would call it a very soft specialization, in the sense that, like, for example, you cannot alter the spell layout on your memorization bar during combat, and so you have to go into each combat moment, depending on where you're fighting, with a layout of abilities that you deem necessary for that fight. We're going to probably die on these guys. They're really tough. These are the kind of fights that Dire Lord really shines, because they can mitigate this this magic damage so much. But these guys are also just crazy tough. So no pressure if we don't do it this first time. But anyway, but the other thing then is what I was saying earlier, where you can go out in the world and actually find these really, really powerful, really special abilities, these epic abilities, and that will begin to differentiate classes from within themselves. So you might have a wizard who has discovered, you know, several more spells that give them the ability to do more things than your you know, base wizard might be able to do, and so you'll see a little bit of some distinction that way as well. But all of that is ultimately accessible for everyone to achieve. finding those abilities and whatnot. So it's very much a soft specialization. The other thing I would say there too is that the classes are being designed in a way to really accentuate kind of that skill ceiling as well. So they're being built in a way where you can pull off some pretty crazy things as you get more familiar with your class and kind of begin to master their unique mechanics and unique synergies, not only within themselves but with other classes as well. And so, players will be able to differentiate themselves that way too, as they learn to leverage those synergies. And I know, as for example, as a shaman, I know that when I have a druid in my group doing this and that, I've learned to really leverage those moments to really stand out as a really good shaman player. So these are not true forms of specialization, obviously, but it's a way of doing soft specialization and then also building in ways for players to differentiate themselves through really bearing down on the depth of their toolkit.
So I just used a tone to bring Henley back to life.
You just now used a tone.
I just now used a tone. Well, I didn't have reckoning points before to... Well, every time we were dead, I didn't have reckoning points.
Okay. Gotcha.
So to sort of explain that to the viewers, the way that the Paladin works is certain abilities will give you reckoning points, and a tone, which is our Resurrect, costs one of these reckoning points. So the previous deaths, I just didn't happen to have a reckoning point up because I was using it as it was popping on other abilities. But
Can I ask another question?
yeah.
I've had some viewers that want to know more about the races, the starting areas, the racial engagement, good versus evil, and will the racial abilities be passive or activate in combat or not in combat?
Cool. Yeah, good question. So there are 9 different races, and yes, they're I don't know that I would call it good versus evil as much as the way that the I guess the relationship between the different races has developed on Terminus. You have some who are, well, let's put it this way: the races have certain alliances and certain hostilities among themselves. So, for example, the ogre in our group, ogres and humans do not get along very well. And so, if you go to the human city as an ogre, our faction system will be such that you will not be treated well there. You will actually be attacked on sight as an ogre in the human city, and vice versa. If you're a human and you go to the ogre city, that's not going to bode well for you. So we do have those faction dynamics that's at work with the player races. That's at work all throughout the world. You'll notice as we are killing these Black Rose Keep guards, we're having faction messages pop up, factions that are getting worse, factions that are getting better, and there is a pretty impressive matrix of factions in the game world, and that'll be up to the players to really figure out all the different connections and intricacies there. And but in terms of racial passives and stuff, our plan right now is to have 1 passive and 1 active racial ability per race, and we'll be putting out some more information on that sometime in the future.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you guys know yet if you are going to implement anything into the game to make this a bit new player friendly, or is it just going to be a tough poop deal with how hard it is?
That's actually going to be our new slogan, I think, under the Pantheon title, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen.
Tough poop.
Tough poop. No, that's a really good question, and I think because of some of the classical elements of what we embrace, there tends to be this maybe perception that we feel that way towards that new player experience, and the reality is, the sooner players can get into the game and get a sense of what's going on, get a sense of how to play their class, get a sense of how the world works, the better. And the difficulty, the complexity is something that you can layer up and build up over time. We don't have any desire to just beat somebody over the head, as soon as they zone in. So as far as like what tutorialization will look like, don't expect to see like a tutorial zone or anything like that, but do expect there to be, a lot of helps just in that early stage, in terms of, you might open your inventory and see a little book in there that, gives you kind of the overview of how your class works and some of the key highlights of, the class design and the different abilities, for example. And then there'll be some other little things. Yeah. Be some other little things that we do to help that process, not to trivialize it. We want, we do want there to be a sense of danger, and, you're kind of thrust into this world and figuring it out, but we're not going to make it totally, opaque to the player. We want to help them out a little bit, for sure.
You want to mez that one out? We'll switch over to this other one here.
You want me to mez the one I just dotted? Yeah. I'll mez them once the dots fall off.
I just wasted my heal on a Nada. Did not need a heal at the time. This is probably why people say I'm bad, because I do stuff like that. Now it's all making sense. It's coming together.
It's okay. This whole time I'm like, wait, what direction am I facing again?
Okay, unfortunately we're coming up on the hour. Any last questions?
I wanted to know if there was anything you could tell us about crafting that we haven't heard yet.
Probably not. Yeah, crafting is something that I know a lot of people are looking forward to. We do have harvesting implemented in pre-alpha 4, so that's actually the first iteration that we have, and the PA4 testers are testing it out now. Crafting won't be until the next pre-alpha, so we just can't get into more details about it at this point. Sorry.
No worries. Instead, then, is there anything that you can tell the community that you haven't really told it? That's brand new.
You're looking for exclusive stuff, huh?
Always.
Oh goodness, I don't know.
So there's rangers in this, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, will it be more mana efficient to res the ranger after the fight, or keep them healed?
Zing. Hey, I tell you what, Rangers are pretty awesome right now. They're holding their own pretty well.
Brutal. Yeah, they're brutal.
Yeah.
In some of the early testing, we one of the abilities. What ability was it? Because it was so OP.
Aim to kill.
Yeah, aim to kill. It was doing ridiculous damage, and Brad McQuaid, Aradun, that's his class, right? It's Ranger. And he's like, what? There's nothing wrong with it. He's taking down root mob solo, and he's just like, he's like, this is fine. Just fine.
Yeah. Balance everything around the Ranger, I guess.
I like it. Okay, guys, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. But again, wanted to thank the three of you for coming out. I hope you had fun. I know it's just a little bit of a taste, but more will be coming soon. And for those other streamers who are on the streamer program, we will be getting you in. It's just a matter of when, not a matter of if. But we will get you all in at one point or another. Just ask that you please bear with us and be patient. Yeah, and I think that's all for tonight. Any last words?
I mean, I'm really impressed with the world that you guys have built. I was on the website reading lore for like an hour.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm like a lore junkie. I love hunting down and reading in-game books and being fishing for 4 hours. We'll be fishing, right? I'll be able to fish in this game,
Yes,
right?
actually, there's a fishing ability right now.
I wouldn't recommend trying to fish right here. But yeah, no, I love hearing that, and I hope people do that. I know that's not everybody's thing, but Pantheon we're building this to really be centered around the lore. The lore is not an afterthought. It's very much it's very much why things are the way they are, and I would say why just about everything is the way it is. And so the more that you understand about the story of the game, the more you're going to be able to appreciate the game, and that's why the perception system really is so key, because it then gives you even more ways to eat the story of the world all around you. And so I love hearing that, and would encourage everybody to continue to read those in the newsletter and the stuff we've got on the site, because it really does shape your perspective on what you're seeing every time we show the game.
I'd like to really thank you guys for the opportunity to play tonight. It was a lot of fun, and I'm definitely interested in the lore too. I enjoyed all the stuff I've played in the other MMOs with lore, and it's always been really interesting. It helps to get us into the actual game and learning everything.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and thanks for playing Pantheon. And if you want, for your viewers, if you want to check out more information, all of it is available at pantheonmmo.com. For a short time, we do have pre-alpha pledges available as well. And you can access those at pantheonmmo.com/join. They are for a limited time until the slots fill up. But otherwise, thank you again for coming, and hope you had a good time. And we bid you
guys, it was a
night.
blast. It was a blast to hang out with you all tonight.
Yeah,
so thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Guys.
All right, everybody. So that was pretty much it from the live stream there. And I mean, if you guys want to watch it without my commentary and without all this extra discussions going on here, go back and watch my stream from yesterday. I will. I'll see if I can get a link for that up here in a second. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, one of the questions that let's see, that Daryl was asking, was I running in 1080p or 4K? I was running in 1080p because I could run in 4K because I do have a really good video card. So I got the 1080 GTX, and it runs really smooth. It's got 11 gigabytes, and it's great. It's a really good video card, and but I don't run in 4K. I stopped running in 4K a few weeks ago because a lot of my viewers were complaining, saying that they couldn't watch my stream because it was timing out a lot. All right, quick things. Hit the like button on YouTube. If we get up to 20 likes over there, I will be adding an extra giveaway drawing at the end of the night tonight. We need those likes over there. For the viewers, we reached up to 20 viewers on Twitch. If we reach 30, then we could have gone an extra giveaway drawing as well. I will be doing that probably around 2 a.m. tonight after I'm about ready to go to bed. And thanks to Warlord for stopping by. He gave a like, and he basically going off to play Fallout 76. I will be streaming Fallout 76 after this for anybody who wants to watch me play that. I'll be ending the stream here in a few minutes and then going over to that. But in the meantime, let's go with questions. Can you do the next stream in 4K? I'm sorry, Daryl, I can't, because the people can't watch it. I do have a lot of videos out there at 4K though, but they don't really go well to YouTube. They actually go better over on Twitch, I believe. Did you actually run out of mana at any point? Yes, I did run out of mana a couple times, where they pretty much they even noticed and made me stop, or they stopped so I could meditate for a little while and get mana back. Just to record some stuff in 4K, I could do that. I actually have one of the videos I recorded a couple nights ago. I recorded it locally on my computer. It's in 4K. I can upload it in 4K. Yeah. So I actually plan to upload it anyway, so I'll eventually get around to that. Have they said anything about more Pantheon streams, or was this one-time deal? There's going to be more of them. They have a streamer program going on right now, and they have invited a lot of streamers, to my knowledge, have applied to become streamers in this program, but they have not announced any dates. Oh, actually, I believe there's going to be another one in a couple days. The coming up soon. I don't know. There's a notice on Reddit about it. He posted there that he's going to be involved in another stream. I don't know what he's going to be playing, and I don't know what the details of that are. I'll be there to check it out, though. Let's see. Revenge says, okay, 20 right now. You're at 20. Okay, and Daryl says, been waiting on the Druid. Let's see. That's it. Do you guys have any questions? Please ask those questions now. Last chance for questions on the live stream here or on Pantheon. Anything. If I can answer, I will. Please, you try to use the video as a reference when asking questions, because I cannot answer questions outside of what was covered in this video. Only information that I know. And we are a little bit short on likes on YouTube, so I guess we're going to have to call it there. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I wanted to do something. Like I said, I'll be doing another stream after this with Fallout 76, so. Andrea says, yeah, but I was wondering if you get to stream more, or does everyone just get one stream each? I don't know the answer to that, Andreas, as well. I would love to stream another one, but I don't know. Oh, yes, let's go raid somebody. Oh, actually, no, we're not going to do a raid Dragonfly because I'm doing Fallout after this. So because of that, I'm not going to raid anybody. Is your beta tester a Druid only? I don't know. Right now, they're in pre-alpha right now, Daryl. They're not even in beta yet. They're in pre-alpha 4. I'm hoping the next phase is alpha, and I'm going to be playing a Druid when I go to alpha. I can tell you that. I didn't pay the money for the pre-alpha. And do you have any other classes? I will be playing alts, but only for crafting. From what I've heard so far, I can't verify this, but from what I've heard, crafting will be only each character can only master one crafting skill. And I will be doing all the crafting skills, so I will be doing other characters, but only for crafting, and for being mules, I guess. But to be honest, I only will play a Druid when I go out to, do groups and raids and stuff. That will be my primary class. And Andreas says, thanks for the stream and this commentary. You're welcome, Andreas. I hope I answered any questions. I do apologize for those. I know there were some complaints about the stream last night that hopefully I answered them all. I covered it in the beginning of the stream here, and I'm sorry I couldn't do more, but I was really given, it was very limited options I had, and I did the best I could with what I was given. So, but once this goes to beta and once the NDA is released and I'm playing, I'll be streaming every day, and for those streams, you guys can ask me questions and stuff like that during the stream, ask me to do things, and I'll always be willing to show off whatever I can. I do plan to play the alpha, but I don't think they're going to give us the option to live stream the alpha. So even though I've been picked for the streamer program, I don't know. Some other people have said that they will probably do that, but I'm not convinced. It doesn't seem like something that they would allow. But if I'm wrong, I'd be super happy if I'm wrong. Yeah, I was only, this was it, Daryl. To my knowledge, that was it. The one and only class right there, the Druid. If I get invited to come back to another one, I'll try something else. I'll actually, if I go back, I'll ask you guys what you want me to play. I'll ask it on my Discord server. So if there's something else you guys want me to play, you got to let me know there, and I'll ask them to play that instead. I'll probably want to play, I don't know. I've never been, my other class back in Rift was probably a tank, so I might go with that. But a straight out warrior type tank, hardcore. So, all right, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna go call it right there, and I'm gonna go head over to play some Fallout 76. If you guys want to keep asking me questions about Pantheon during my Fallout 76 live stream, feel free. Come on back, and I will answer whatever I can. Okay? You keep asking me questions all night if you like, but. Thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate everybody sticking around tonight and watching this live stream. And, okay, Daryl, I'll keep the Druid going, too. To be honest, that's what I want to do, but I'll ask for a vote. Just because I like to be fair. All right, take care. Good night for those leaving, and see you in a few minutes for those coming back.